Hello everyone and welcome back to Chess with MNM. Today I brought to you so exciting game played in 2011 between the world champion Magnus Carlsen and Vassily Ivanchuk. Now I think no one doesn't know Magnus Carlsen, but Vassily Ivanchuk is one of the most powerful chess players in the chess history. Also, he's one of the most crazy chess players in the chess history. I mean, he has so aggressive and so beautiful and crazy playing style in the chess, and we will see it in this game. Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces and Vassily Ivanchuk with the black pieces. Magnus Carlsen opened this game by d4, the queen's pawn opening, knight to f6 by Ivanchuk, c4, e6, and knight to c3, and now bishop to b4. The Nimzo Indian defense. Okay, bishop to b4 played by Ivanchuk, and now knight to f3 developing the other knight. Sorry, knight to f3 developing the other knight. b6, I want to develop my bishop into the b7 square. Here there is three main lines in this position. Castling into the king side. Our pushing c5, and after the capture playing something like knight to a6 to recapturing the pawn. Our pushing b6, and the most played move is b6. Okay, b6 now by Ivanchuk, and now queen to c2. The idea, if you capture on the c3, then I will capture by the pawn, and I will not make to myself a double pawns on the c file. Okay, bishop to b7 by Ivanchuk, and now a3 kicking this bishop capture on c3, queen capture on c3, and now knight to e4 attacking the queen back to c2, and now f5 by Ivanchuk. And the idea by f5 is when I move this knight back, now the pawn on the f5 not allow the white to push e4 in the future to grab the control of the space of the center. Sorry. Also by f5 and e6 pawn structure, now the d5, also the e4 squares control it. So by this the black will this diagonal, the h1a diagonal, will still open for my b7 bishop. So it's a beautiful idea by the black here, playing f5 and then pushing e6. Okay, f5 by Ivanchuk, and now g3. I want to develop my bishop into the g2 or into the h3. Knight back to f6 now, and now bishop to h3 by Carlsen. And bishop to h3 seems like a weird move or a strange move or something like that, but I mean, the idea by bishop to h3 is pushing d5. Now the idea by d5, when you capture on the d5, e capture on d5, then I will capture on the f5, bishop capture on f5 with a huge pressure on the h7 square by the bishop and also by the queen, and this is what we will see in this crazy game. Okay, bishop to h3 played by Magnus, and now castles by Ivanchuk, castles by Magnus too, and now a5 by Ivanchuk. I want to grab more space on the queen side. Here Carlsen played rook to d1, preparing to his big push, and it is d5, and now queen to e8. The idea by queen to e8 is shifting the queen into the king side to defend, and this is what we will see in the next moves. Okay, here after d5, after queen to e8, Magnus said here, now the bishop is ready on the h3, our rook is ready on the d1, so now let's push d5. D5 by Magnus, and now knight to a6 by Ivanchuk. I want to develop my knight, and now bishop to f4, developing the bishop, also putting a pressure on the c7 square. Here Ivanchuk captured e capture on d5. Okay, e capture on d5 by Magnus, and now bishop capture on f5, putting a pressure on the h7 square. Here Ivanchuk captured again on the queen side, d capture on c4. The angel here says that knight to e4 is better at this position. Why? The idea is cutting the connection between the queen and the bishop for this pressure on the h7 square, and if the white capture, okay, bishop capture, then you will play pawn capture, and by this you have a nice space on the center. Also the pawn on the e4 protected by the queen and by the bishop, and the knight comes into the c5 to protect that pawn. Also the f3, the f3's knight is under attack, and the angel here says that the black here has a slightly advantage for his space on the king, on the middle. Okay, so for this season here, knight to e4 was better than d capture on c4, but Ivanchuk didn't see that idea. He saw that idea, but he played d capture on c4. He said no, d capture on c4 better. Okay, d capture on c4 played by Ivanchuk, and now knight to g4, knight to g5, knight to g5 with triple attack on the h7 square. So here Magnus played queen to Ivanchuk played queen to h5. Queen to h5 guarding the h7 square by the queen, also by the knight. And now here Carlsen played a beautiful move, and it is rook capture on d7. Now the idea by rook capture on d7 that if rook capture on d7, the idea here you cannot capture the rook, knight capture on d7, because if you capture the rook, then bishop capture on h7 will be deadly. Bishop capture on h7, when you move your king, then bishop to g6 comes, attacking the queen, where you will move your queen now. Example, if you move your queen to the g4 and this is the only square for your queen, then f3 comes and your queen trap it. There is no square for your queen. The queen capture on g5 is the best move, and then after bishop capture on g5, this position is such winning for the white. So for this reason here, after rook capture on d7, you cannot capture on the d7 square. So here Ivanchuk played king to h8. The idea now, I'm threatening knight capture on d7, because now bishop capture on h7 doesn't come with a check on my king anymore. Okay, so for the season here, Magnus moved his rook from the threat, rook to e7, and now knight to d5. Knight to d5 attacking the rook, also the bishop. So something like bishop capture on h7 doesn't work now, because simply I can grab your rook and you don't have any counter attack on my king side. So for this season here, after knight to d5, Carlsen here played a bishop to g4, a beautiful idea. The idea here, of course, you cannot capture my bishop because queen to h7 will be a checkmate. So for this reason, after bishop to g4 attacking the queen, queen to g6 played by Ivanchuk, and here Magnus Carlsen played a beautiful move actually. Pause the video for a couple of seconds and try to find what Carlsen played at this position. If you found that move, congratulations, you are so good player. The move is knight to f7. Knight to f7 is so beautiful move by Carlsen. Now the idea here, of course, you cannot capture by the queen, because the knight protected by rook. And if you capture by the rook, then queen capture on g6 comes. And after h capture on g6, then simply I will grab the rook on the f7, and by this the black here is up an exchange. Okay, bishop for a bishop, and here bishop for a knight, rook for rook, and rook for knight. Okay, so for this season here, you cannot capture by the knight by the rook, also by the queen. So here Ivanchuk moved this king to g8. Okay, king to g8 played by Ivanchuk, and now bishop to f5, again attacking the queen again. And here Ivanchuk sacrifices his queen, and this is the best move at this position, by queen capture on f5. Because here, example, if you move with your queen away, something like a queen to h5, okay, then g4 comes. And after something like queen to h3, then here knight to g5 comes, again attacking the queen. And after something like queen to h4, now queen capture on c4 comes, and now the knight and the bishop putting a pressure on the knight and the bishop putting a pressure on the h7 square. Your knight on the d5 is under pin, because it's on the king's diagonal. e4 comes to grab that knight. I mean, and the rook is so active, putting a pressure on the g7 square. Bishop to e5 also comes with a threat on the g7 square. So I mean, it's too hard position for the white, and the angel here says that the white has too big advantage. So for this reason here, after bishop to f5, Ivanchuk played the best move at this position, and he sacrificed his queen for a bishop and rook. Queen capture on f5. Queen capture on f5, knight capture on e7. Now your queen is under attack, also the knight is under attack, so here you have to do something. So for this season here, Magnus played knight to h6. He sacrificed the bishop, also the rook, also the knight, for to make the king side weak, and to attack this king on the g8. Okay, g capture on h6 played by Ivanchuk, and now queen to g4 check. And now materially the black up, okay, because bishop for bishop, rook for rook, and two knights for and rook for one queen. Okay, so material here is up, but the problem that this king is not in a safety. This king's safety is I mean, this king is not in a safe place. Okay, so and this making a huge advantage for the white. Okay, so here after queen to g4, Ivanchuk played knight to g6. Okay, knight to g6, because here if you play something like king to h8, then bishop to e5 will be deadly. The only move is rook to f6, and then bishop capture on f6 will be a checkmate. So covering Ivanchuk covered by the knight, knight to g6, and now h4 played by, sorry, not h4, bishop capture on h6 first, bishop capture on h6 attacking the rook, and after rook to f7 here, Magnus Carlsen played rook to d1. Rook to d1 bringing the other rook into the game, and now rook to e8 played by Ivanchuk bringing the rook also into the game. And now h4 played by Magnus. h4 I want to push h5 and I want to grab your knight. So here Ivanchuk played knight to c5. The idea by knight to c5, when you push h5, and this is what happened in the game, I will play bishop to c8. Bishop to c8 attacking the queen, and here of course you cannot play something like queen to g5 because rook to f4 f5 will be will make an advantage for the black, because here now if you move your queen back, so rook capture on h5 simply, and the black here will be fine. But and if you moved your queen back, example queen back to g4, you want to still own the file, then rook to f4 comes, rook to f4 attacking the queen by the rook, also by the bishop. After queen to g5, again queen to f4, after king to g4, rook to f4, and by this the position will be the game will end by the draw by a threefold repetition. So for this season here, after bishop to c8, Magnus Carlsen here played queen capture on c4, queen capture on c4, and now queen capture on c4, and now knight to e5, knight to e5 attacking the queen. Queen to h4 now by Magnus. Now the threat is queen to g5. Example, if the black played anything like a4, then queen to g5 will be deadly. Queen to g5, what will you play here? If you move your king, and this is the only move, queen capture on e4, e5 is deadly. You cannot capture by the rook, because if you capture by the rook, now rook to d1 will be, rook to d8 will be a checkmate. After rook to e8, and after rook to f8, capture, rook to f8 will be a checkmate. And here, even if you didn't capture, you need to cover the, and if you play something like example king to g8, then queen capture on e8 simply, and after king rook to f8, then queen capture on f8 will be checkmate. So for this season here, you cannot play anything like a4 because queen to g5 is a threat. So here Ivanchuk played knight back to c6. Okay, knight back to c6 by Ivanchuk, and now queen rook to d5. The threat here now is if you play anything again like a4, then queen to g5 will be a threat. If you move your king, then queen back to c1. The idea here, I will play simply rook to g5, and then queen to c3, a check. Your king cannot go to the g file because simply my rook controlling that file, and it will be too hard for the black to prevent this threat. So for this season here, after rook to d5, Ivanchuk here played knight to e6, not allow this queen to comes into the g5 square, but here simply Carlsen played queen to c4 attacking the knight. And here Ivanchuk blundered. Ivanchuk here has to play bishop to b7, protecting the knight, but unfortunately Ivanchuk blundered here and he played knight back, knight c to d8. And why this move is blunder? Because here simply after knight c to d8, Carlsen played queen to g4 check, and this move was deadly for Ivanchuk. Why? Because now you cannot go to the into the h8, because queen to the bishop to d2 simply will be threat in a checkmate on the c3 square, and there is no way to. I mean, there is way, but you have to sacrifice your pieces to prevent the checkmate. And if you play something like knight to g7, and this is what happened in the game, simply you will lose your bishop on the c8. Okay, so for this season here at this position, Ivanchuk here had to play bishop to b7. The idea here, if you play something like queen to g for check, then I can cover the file by my knight, and you don't have bishop capture on c8, and you cannot capture my bishop because my bishop now is on the b7 square. But unfortunately Ivanchuk missed that idea, and here simply Ivanchuk played knight back to c8, knight c to d8, and after queen to g4, knight to g7, queen capture on c8, and it was at this position that Ivanchuk resigned the game. So I mean, yeah, this is the game. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to smash the like and subscribe. Also, you can check out my previous videos, and you can support us on Patreon if you want. The link is below the video, and see you in the next videos.